Hello there. The anti-woke pushback is now gathering pace in the USA, but will we, in the UK, see this welcome return to sanity, or will Keir Starmer's Labour Party continue forcing woke down our throats? The kickback against woke is beginning to take shape as yet another Republican politician puts forward a bill to separate public funding from those pushing the diversity, equity and inclusion, or DEI, agenda. A Republican member of the House of Representatives, Greg Murphy, has given us a glimpse of what a Republican Trump regime might look like by introducing a bill into Congress that would remove access to federal funding from any medical school practicing woke DEI policies. Now, Greg Murphy is the only practicing physician in Congress, and he introduced this bill after Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire investigated the DEI practices at Duke Medical School, where there was a drive to recruit more minority surgeons and stop hiring so many of what were termed as walls of white men. And as a result, Representative Murphy told Shapiro, Duke's attempt to obliterate a fair and colourblind admissions process to hurt white male applicants is repulsive. This is not art school, for goodness sake. Lives are on the line in operating rooms, hospitals and clinics. As a result, Shapiro put out on X, breaking. Following my reporting on rampant DEI in medical schools, US Congressman Greg Murphy, MD, is introducing legislations to end federal funding, including student loan funding, for any medical school that practices DEI. And in a second tweet he said, the bill, called the Educate Act, would ban the anti-white admission standards that Duke uses to hire surgeons, which I exposed last month. Murphy tells me that the DEI policies at Duke are repulsive and need to end. Elon Musk of X has also entered the fray on this issue. Talking to Don Lemon, he said that lowering standards would kill someone. So Lemon asked if Musk thought DEI was lowering standards in surgery.
If we lower the standards, yes. But do you believe people are dying because the standards are being lowered?
I don't think that is yet an issue, but it could become an issue.
Okay. But the actual evidence in history shows the exact opposite. If you look at how minorities are treated by the medical system, most doctors now are white. And there are lots of mistakes in medicine. So you're saying that white doctors have bad medical care? I'm trying to understand your logic here when it comes to DEI, because there's no actual evidence of what you're saying.
No, I said, so if the standards, like let's say, I think that particular thing was referring to surgeons. Let's say a surgeon is asked to, a surgeon in training is asked to do a series of operations under the supervision of a senior surgeon, and they get a bunch of those operations wrong. If that happens, and yet they are still approved to be a surgeon, the probability that someone will die, I think, at some point is high.
Okay, I understand that, but that's a hypothetical. That doesn't mean it's happening.
I didn't say it's happening.
You didn't say it was happening.
I said it will. But I said if we lower standards, people will die.
But why respond to something or put something out there that has not happened? Because I could say,
because I don't want it to happen. I think we don't want to lower standards.
Okay, if you look at the history of the medical industry, especially when it comes to Black Americans, it shows the exact opposite. If you look at the Tuskegee experiment and on, only 5% of doctors in America are Black. All of them are white. So are you saying that if the majority of doctors are white, are you saying that and there are still these inequities, right? And there's still mistakes. Are you blaming DEI for that?
No, I'm very basically saying that if we lower standards for what it takes to become a board-certified surgeon, or an oncologist or something where the kind of disease we're talking about, if you make a mistake, causes someone to die, then more people will die than if we don't lower the standards. Therefore, we should not lower the standards.
But why do you think they're lowering the standards for minority doctors or women doctors, or?
That's what that's what that article suggested. Yes, at Duke University.
Okay.
Now, whether this bill gets through both houses of Congress and becomes law is another matter, and I doubt Biden's lot, the Democrats, will want to back it. But it does show that there is a growing anti-woke movement in the USA. And this comes on the back of the universities in Florida being forced to close their DEI offices and eliminate their DEI positions after the Republican governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, enacted anti-DEI laws that said no public funding for universities involved in DEI. And DeSantis put out on Twitter, "Florida is where DEI goes to die." Now, the wokesters will not like this one iota. They believe that woke is fair because it does hold white people back. Equality of outcomes and all that. When in truth it is a filthy, dirty blueprint for hatred, envy and division. A blueprint that is extremely lucrative for its practitioner advisors and lawyers. All those diversity posts across the private and public sectors that probably, in reality, prevent companies and public sector bodies from taking on the right people for the right job. Something that must be hitting the private sector bottom line and public sector productivity. But that doesn't matter to the woke brigade as long as they have sinecures for life advising companies and government departments on how to further the segregation within their areas of responsibility. And as I've pointed out before, the more division that is stoked, then the more money and resources will be poured into the ever-widening maw of wokeness. And I do have to wonder how many straight white people, especially men, actually get hired within the DEI industry. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, any organisation that claims to be diverse while excluding the majority ethnicity is not diverse. Any organisation that claims they look for equitable outcomes while ensuring one set of people is placed in an advantageous position purely based on colour, religion or sex is not acting with true equity in mind. And any organisation that practices inclusion by excluding those of an unwanted ethnicity, in this case whites, is not practicing inclusion. In reality, DEI practitioners are usually advising on how to be non-diverse, inequitable and excluding. In short, DEI is not what it says on the tin and should therefore be shut down. On the outside of that tin are colourful images of rainbows and unicorns. But once you crack the lid open, out pours the putrid stench of the division and inequality of wokeness. Now, this new anti-woke pushback will increase in strength and velocity because the general public is now getting fed up with it, and reality can only be held back for so long. And this new bill shows the way forward for true equality, with Murphy's new bill saying that in order to receive federal funding under the bill, medical schools would have to state that they have not established a privilege or benefit for students solely on the basis of race, colour or ethnicity, and also that they do not offer courses for students solely on the basis of race, colour or ethnicity. And we all know that that approach would instantly exclude any DEI practicing establishment, because they do exclude people on the basis of race, colour and ethnicity. They exclude white people. But the proposed legislation goes even further. If a medical school compels staff or students to affirm allegiance to the idea that the USA is systemically racist, that school would lose its public funding. So it takes away the ability of people to point at others and call them oppressors, or claim themselves to be oppressed in order to get favourable treatment. The Daily Wire quotes Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, the board chairman of Do No Harm, an organisation that wants to see identity politics kept out of medicine, as saying, "Allowing rebranded, race-based discrimination to infiltrate medical education is dangerous for future doctors and patients alike. I have witnessed firsthand the alarming rate at which DEI ideology has spread through medical schools across the country. If we fail to stop it, we risk a generation of physicians ill-equipped to meet the needs of their patients." And he went on to say that he applauded Congressman Murphy for his stand. Now let's see some UK politicians grasp this odious nettle and rip it from the ground.